Please give it up for Mr.
Old.
Isaac Grillo. Your time starts now, buddy.
All right, time can start now. And honestly, Grillo is only in Florida. I'm actually Italian, Sicilian. It's called Grillo, but it's fine, no problem. It's been something I do. So honestly, I'm making a cocktail today that I want to be light, refreshing, and in that whole sustainable world. So I kind of took it to another level, and maybe I took it too far. But I wanted everything to be as sustainable as possible, and I'm blessed to be in a position where I can do that. So I'm making a cocktail today called Love and Chaos. And I called it this because I literally preach the opposite of what I'm going to do today. I consult on a lot of projects. I write menus for a lot of people, and it's all about simplicity and balance and picking the right thing. But that's honestly not really me at all. If anybody knows me, and a lot of people know me, I'm kind of chaotic, but it all works. So you have to find balance. And I also loved the challenge of the sustainable aspect of it because that's festive for me. And somebody convinced me to come out of retirement to compete, so it's only proper that we do that. It's due service. So my Love and Chaos cocktail today is derived from being light, refreshing, and garden-oriented. And I'm going to start to build it for you. But when you talk about sustainability, and after doing a lot of research, there's some things that, oddly enough, aren't as sustainable as you'd think. First one would be citrus. You're pressing lemons, limes. Granted, citrus trees grow regularly, but it takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of things that go into getting the end result of citrus juice. So I didn't use any. I'm using a blend of citric acid today, citric and malic acid blend. That's going to be part of my acidity for my cocktail. I'm going to put it right there. And before I go any further, I also want to put a little something in here. We're going to talk about ice. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. I'm not going to use any of those things that you're supposed to use. So I'm going to put a little LNO2 in here, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. This is liquid nitrogen. If you're not familiar with liquid nitrogen, I'll just tell you right now, it's just wicked cold. Like if you want to freeze something, it'll freeze it. So if you want to get technical, negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit. But what it's going to start to do is start to chill my cocktail that I'm not going to shake because ice, sustainable, arguable. More citrus. So obviously I need to balance my cocktail. I need citrus, I need sugar, I need all these things. I put my citric acid blend in, but I also want a little passion fruit because I'm so passionate about sustainability. Thank you. I'll take it, whatever. Thanks, Chase. Probably you. Appreciate it. So right now I got two acids in there. I got some citric acid, I got a little passion fruit. If you're familiar with passion fruit, there's hundreds of different types across the globe. Unless they're perfect, they're tart. So I need to start to sweeten this cocktail up. So the first thing I'm going to use is fresh pressed carrot juice. When I talk about Love and Chaos, I like to when I tell everybody else how to make menus, I tell them never to do any of these things. Me personally, I think it's perfect because I want to add a little bit of some interesting ingredients to my cocktail that overall is going to end up with some balance. I also need to sweeten up those things. So the carrot added a little bit of that sugar element and started to give me that garden vibe. But I have to balance out the acids. I put in citric acid and I put passion fruit. I need to balance my acidity with some sugar. There you go, sweetheart. The sugar that I used today was a coconut lemongrass syrup. So I'm not sure if the name tells you what was in it, but we made it with coconut and some lemongrass. And then we added some sugar and made a perfect syrup. So that's going to balance out the acidity here. Also, because I'm not shaking my cocktail and I'm eliminating that sustainability element of ice, I still need to dilute it properly. So when you shake cocktails, if you want to get super nerdy, you need a certain amount of dilution. 24, 26% is where you would want to be. I did 24%, so just enough of the water element to bring it into play. And now I have the base of my cocktail. So I know my base is, well, hopefully good. Let's try it. It's definitely above average, so I feel great about what I'm doing right now. But I haven't added any booze. So I made these cocktails, based on the 2-1-1-1 kind of no-brainer, because I want these kind of cocktails to be able to be implemented in a setting that you're at. Granted, it's impossible to do this cocktail in the setting you're at, so good luck. I'm going to pour 2 ounces. That's actually for 3 cocktails. And then, as an homage to the people doing the 2 ounce or 1.5 pour, I'm going to do the perfect 2 ounce pour. You guys ready? Measure it. You can't because it's already in there, but I probably did it exactly right. I'm pretty sure I'm perfect. So now I have my composed cocktail. Now we start to talk about what we're going to serve it in. So I was going to make my own glassware out of isomalt. I don't know if anybody's familiar with isomalt. Any other nerds in there? All right. Whatever. So turns out that they don't sell glass molds to put isomold in. So you can't. You could do it by hand, maybe. I don't know. It would be tricky. I get what you're saying. It'd be really tricky. So I didn't. What I did is I hand carved out these oranges because they're all natural. It's sustainable. But I also made the presentation kind of beautiful. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with a lot of rocks, but I love rocks in general. So I used some rocks as garnish. So there's dioxides in rocks. Mica might be the one you're most familiar with that makes that shimmery kind of deal. So I have a lot of glitter involved. I'm not saying I'm a glitter kind of guy, but I'm not saying I'm not either. So I put a lot of glitter in these kind of things. So basically I blended up a bunch of flowers with a little bit of the glitter, luster dust, if you will, but made from true derivative rocks. Very sustainable. I don't know if you guys are familiar with rocks, but pretty sustainable. And now I got this really pretty, I don't know who came up with it. It was me, but amazing garnish of these rocks and flowers that I blended up. Fucking amazing. Oh. Can we say that online? I don't care what people think. So now I not only have this sustainable whole thing, but now I wanted a vessel. So I was considering like the coconut thing and all these like sustainable vessels, but I was like, how about just sustainable fruit? Makes sense. And I didn't want to put in a pineapple because I'm not making a pina colada and selling it for $85 on South Beach. So I bought these oranges and I hollowed them out, but I did hollow them out with my own hand. So I hollowed them out. I also measured them to make sure that the ounce quantity per orange would be decent quantified to the proper cocktail pour. So if you want to talk about proper cocktail pour, let's say 5 ounces, 6 ounces dilution. Anyway, I already did all that effort in here, and I have this amazing thing. And then all the refuse of the things I was using, I was like, let's make a fruit roll-up. Who's ever had a fruit roll-up and loved it? No. Yeah, they're quite delicious. Have you ever had one with some glitter in it? Has it been made from the refuse of the things that you made this cocktail? No, fuck no, nobody does that. But I did, and it was amazing. And most people ate most of them yesterday, and I wasn't aware. So today I cut mine into quarters. It's still amazing, glittery. But I literally used the refuse of my press. So it has a little passion fruit, it has a little bit of sugar, and a lot of glitter, because again, I'm a glitter guy. And so now that I have my cold cocktail already diluted, again, I didn't shake it. Nobody wants, sustainability. Everybody's talking about ice and glassware. Like, I didn't use any of those things. But I'm just going to pour this directly into my fruit. And it looks something like this. Let me show you. Oh, what? Oh. I love the what. That guy's on my team, by the way. I paid him $100. Well worth it. What do we win for this? Fuck the 1,000. I'll go to Nicaragua. So when it comes to talking about the actual booze, I'm kind of in a blessed position where I've been to a lot of distilleries all around the world for whatever spirit category, but a lot in the rum world. So when it comes to Flor de Caña as the actual spirit, which I love, is if you know anything about rum, we all got the art of distillation 400 years ago, and everybody started making rum. And some people were on islands, some people were on continents, and nobody agreed with anybody, and nobody cared. Same thing happened in Nicaragua. Flor de Caña, granted, took a little longer. So it's been around for 100 plus years, but it wasn't the predominant original, but it started that trend. The great thing I love about Flor de Caña is you got to control your sugar content. I don't know if you guys know anything about rum, but if you do, there's no rules. So lying is really acceptable, which is great. Like adding some caramel coloring, some sugar, and putting a, let's say 28 on the bottle. Perfect. 28 is fair, right? It's not 28. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried a 28-year-old aged rum in a single barrel, but it's fucking terrible. It's very dry. It's not drinkable. So they use predominantly a Solera system, but Flor de Caña in itself, and going on the green side, it's, for me, I think it's their right. They have to. They're the largest producer, obviously, of rum in Nicaragua. But and I'll say, I'm going to shout out to Patron because I think it's a fair target. But, because they did a lot of great things. But they're also green. And in the tequila world, you have other things, Vinasis, all these things that you have to coincide with to make it more green. Rum, it's your right. I feel like every distillery that's a big brand needs to have a greener footprint, period. And you'll probably sell some more bottles as well. And so I think that's great about the dry style of Flor de Caña in general. So I'm going to go and cap this. You know, the caps are also from oranges. You know, honestly, it's the same orange. You know, I matched them up properly. And I wanted a proper straw. And granted, there's a ton of proper straws nowadays. Agave straws are some of my favorite. My favorite actually are out of Holland, which are made from potato refuse. But I didn't want to do that because sustainability, this is just lemongrass. And I also put lemongrass in this cocktail. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a little bit in the syrup. So I was going to use a papaya leaf. I don't know if you guys are familiar with papaya leaves, but they make a nice straw. But lemongrass, if you take a lot of time and effort, you can get a perfect straw if you really try. True. Not mass producible. I try to put straws like, doesn't work. So you get one out of like one stock. So cost effectiveness is great for this competition, but not in reality. I'm over time? How do I go over time? So at the end of the day, there's some sort of love and chaos. That's 10 minutes?